Hola, mis amigos. Sebastian, back again. Thrifter, reseller, collector. And in this video, I'm just going to show some of the recent books I've picked up. So I'll get going right along. These first ones are a set of four. It's these Moo books. I mean, they're funky. That's all I can tell you. This is a cool cover. Look at the snakes. I like it. And I'm guessing all these covers of this edition of these, it was the same artist. I sold one of these books before, different edition. Couldn't tell you much about them, but it's a pretty safe bet that they're kind of funky. I mean, you know, it's the clues are there. So those look interesting, and I think those should sell decently as a set. They cost 80 cents each. Got them at the store here in Phoenix at the Goodwill on 83rd Ave and Grand, which is kind of a nice store for vintage paperbacks. The book processor there, he tends to put out a decent amount. You know, sometimes I think in some stores they leave a bit of discretion to the book processors. It depends. Sometimes they got like real hard line on what they want to be putting out. I mean, the manager kind of gives the directives. Easy Street, the true story of a gangster's daughter. Now, this one's kind of hard to find. So, you know, I think this one sells for around 30 bucks, which is good for a vintage paperback. Again, Beauty and Health the Scandinavian Way, fairly hard to find. Decently sellable, you know, these kind of niche interest things, and look, it's just so of its time period with the photography and everything. You know, when is this from? I'm guessing late 60s, early 70s. Let me see here. I'm actually curious now. 71. So it's always fun to try and guess, you know. Oh, this is cool. I love finding horror. Blood Farm. Cool, you know, font right there. And cool image. So this one, I think, you know, 20, 30 bucks maybe, something like that. This one is a little beat up, but I've never found this edition of James Baldwin, Another Country. He's a fantastic writer. Definitely recommend him. I have not read this particular book, but it's a neat one. And I found another James Baldwin. It's in here. This is a cool Gothic, although, so in this edition, the Easy Eye ones, you know, the cover art tends to be a little more like just condensed. And I tend to like it when it's like full bleed, all over the whole cover. So, and there is an edition of these with the full cover art, but it's still cool, you know, and she's got the candlestick and everything, which that's cool for effect. And those are fun, the old Gothics. I'm a big fan, personally. This is Kurt Vonnegut, Slaughterhouse 5, vintage paperback. I have not found this one, this particular edition, I mean. And this one, these always sell well. This is actually First Dell Printing, 1971. I'll have to check if there's a little bit of a premium or not on that. But, you know, it's very sellable. Oh, this one's cool. Look at this cover. Ain't that cool? Radcliffe. What a hottie. No, but damn, dude's jacked. I don't know if this is like a gay interest sort of paperback. I think this edition's fairly hard to find. So it's got multiple things going for it, like that cover. No, that's like a good cover for that era. Very collectible in my opinion. And I'll tell you, it's second printing 1971. I wonder what I'll have to look up what the 1965 edition looks like, because that's the original first printing. Oh, this is important. This is important for you. I mean, maybe even for me, depending on what your goals are. How to make ESP work for you. Now, I'll tell you, my goals are world domination. So if I want to do world dominating, I do need to learn ESP so I can, you know, control people. That's important. I mean, I love this kind of weird bullshit. It's funny. No disrespect if you're into that stuff. It's just, it is funny. the Phoenix Oracle. I found 2 of these. I found it with the ESP book. And these were, in very good condition. So that's part of the reason I got it. Sometimes, the sell through on these is pretty slow. So you really got to be patient. But you could get like $15 on that, each one. I mean, it's not bad. I think they're funky. That's why I get it. Ancient Astrological Secrets of the Jews. Of the Jews Revealed. This could be taken multiple ways. Like, I won't even get into it. But anyways, the cover, that's a nice cover. It's very hard to find the old vintage paperbacks, especially when they got the black, without, in good condition, because the black, the flaws just pop out so strong, and these older books get very beat up. But this one actually, I think, is fairly valuable. And I'll have to look it up a little more before I tell you anything. But it sounds kind of conspiracy theorist kind of bullshit, But it's got the occult astrological angle, that's good, basically. La Peste by Camus, The Plague. So I just thought, this is a cool edition with this giant ass rat, just looming over the city. Nicely done. When I was just looking this book up, like comping it, a really cool edition of James Herbert's like The Rats or something, and they're all like lined up. A French edition of it popped up, and I'm like, oh, I want to try and find that one. It's not even worth that much, but it's cool. James Herbert, he was like a horror writer, and some of his books, they got cool covers, very collectible. Thorsten Veblen's The Theory of the Leisure Class, vintage paperback. This is definitely a book I've always kind of wanted to read. Just curious, it's kind of an important work. The Countess Angelique. These are kind of, a bit sleazy. I guess it's written by a husband and wife duo. What's their name? I can't remember. They like do a weird mashup on their names. But these are cool. They sell. I sold a bunch of these different kind of editions. Vaguely trashy and fun. Joan Didion, The White Album. This one might have a little bit of value. But either way, she's, her stuff sells very well. I only read one of her books. I think the most famous one, which I'm blanking on right now. It's definitely a very particular group of people, I can tell you that much. Le métier d'illustrateur. So it's just the, being an illustrator, basically. That's what it's about, biographies on it. So it's a pretty cool book, French book. But, this one probably take me 100 years to sell. But I like it, and I actually want to look at it. So, there you go. I can't do too many of those because it starts stacking up, City of Night by John Recchi, I guess. And this is a hard to find edition, probably sells for about $30. And it's kind of gay interest story. So I think it was an important work in its time, for, about gays, homosexuals, and stuff like that in this period. The Time Garden. So the reason this one stuck out to me was just the cover. I thought it was cool. But it turns out this has decent value, even though, there's got some wear on the dust jacket there. And when I say decent value, I think around $100, which is not bad for a book. But I don't know anything about this thing. By Edward Eager. Do you guys know it? I mean, I don't, but I'm definitely going to be excited to just learn about it, So sometimes I let the value lead me, like, oh, okay, that's a valuable book, and I like the cover art, which is often, that's my bias. I like interesting cover art. And then, it's like, oh, it's got value, okay, cool, pick it up, and I'll learn about it a bit more later. Il Cinema di Fellini, Federico Fellini, a great Italian filmmaker. So this is by Brunello Rondi. I'll tell you, when is this from? I think this thing actually does have a bit of value. It's 1965, I believe, first edition. So that's like in the heart of Fellini's career. So I think this is a book that is very sellable because it's not necessarily going to be bought by somebody who reads Italian. It's going to be bought by somebody who loves cinema, loves Fellini, and will maybe even just want to display that book, you know, because people got different opinions on these kind of things in terms of getting book. I love getting books purely on aesthetics. I got a ton of books. I don't care to read. I got them for the aesthetics because I like the cover art and things like that. So I have no problems with people getting books just for display, just for whatever, because I do it, you know. So some people are more purist about that, I suppose, but most people don't care. They're like, you know, let the books, anything, so long as they bring you some happiness, whichever way, that's what counts. Whether it's for display or for consumption. Now, this is Jubiaba by Jorge Amado. I mean, this cover is awesome. I want to look up the artist and learn about them. I just really like it. But this publisher, Bard Books, which I think is like a subline for Avon, they had a lot of great cover art in the 70s and 80s. And they published this guy's work a lot. He was a Brazilian writer. And I do want to check them out because I don't know their work. Young Frankenstein movie tie-in edition. Nice. This is good condition. This is real solid. This is probably like $30 maybe. But yeah, actually I've never seen this movie. I need to watch it, you know. Oh, this is probably the best one I found. Rollerball. I mean, damn, that cover kind of got that Bane vibe right there. Damn. But in the not too distant future, war will no longer exist, but there will be rollerball. That's awesome. And then rollerball murder stories. There are rollerball murder stories. That's great. That's fantastic. You know, that's cool. I think that one is actually worth decent money too. I'll have to further research, but maybe $100 ballpark. Picturesque Interviews with Jesus. A study of the master personality. Damn, that's interesting. This one, I took a bit of a flyer on because I think there's like a series of these. This one might be antique, actually. And it just sounded interesting, you know. I'll get religious stuff when it sounds cool. 1926. Oh, damn, it is antique. Right on the money. 100 years. There we go. Nice. I have no clue on value. I'm going to have to research that a bit. I got that purely because I thought it was interesting. I mean, Picturesque Interviews with Jesus. Come on. That's a draw. Bulgari, just like a catalog art book, photography book. You know, jewelry, all that stuff. Nice production. You can usually count on these to have nice production. I'm not sure on value. Oh, Sophia Loren. And who's that? Oh, Gina Lollobrigida. Anyways, these are fun. You know, I collect a lot of vintage fashion magazines, and before I had ever gotten into those, I was like, jewelry? Yeah, whatever. But then as I was, you know, getting acquainted with the magazines, looking through them, spending more time with them, I'm like, oh, damn, yeah, no, jewelry can do a lot of cool things for you in terms of your look and everything. It doesn't have to be like, you know, $1 million jewelry, just like costume jewelry. And you can bring a cool vibes, you know? Anyways, I came to respect what this kind of ornamentation can do, you know? Had to come around, though. It took me a while. The Anatomy of the Perfect Suit, Hugo Boss. I believe this is a European publishing, you know, published in Europe. Pretty cool book, you know. I mean, it was just like a couple bucks. I couldn't quite resist, especially because it had the fashion element. Hugo Boss, I like Hugo Boss, you know. It's a good brand, in my opinion. You know, what did this sell for? You know, nothing crazy, probably $20-$30. I got it mostly because I just wanted it in my store. So not always the best excuse, but it'll sell well, I think, you know. The Biggest Bear. This is pretty cool. This was at the Scottsdale Thunderbird store where my buddy, the book processor Larry, he puts out a decent amount of vintage and antique books, which is awesome. So this one is actually, and I do think this is like an OG first edition, which is pretty solid. Let me tell you. So yeah, 1952, right there. And there's no like marks of like, you know, first, second, third, or, you know, it's not like 6 printing or anything. Look at this. Look at this person. Shouldn't shoot poor bears unless they're bothering you. Look, I mean, if you got to do it for defense, I understand. But, you know, my bias tends towards the bears because I like bears. I think they're cool. I mean, come on, look. Got my bear friend right here. You wouldn't shoot him. I almost pointed at the ducks. These are not bears. This is a bear. I hope you know that. Without me needing to explain that. Look at this, feeding the little baby bears. How cool is that? Man, you know, I'd love to have a baby bear. Although they become big bears, and then you know, the logistics of the thing gets a little trickier. But these drawings are awesome, and they're very much of their era. They actually even feel a little more 40s than 50s, to be honest with you. But beautifully done. Holy shit, this bear is angry. Yeah, that's a bear you know, I'll stay away from. But anyways, you get the idea. It's a cool book. I think it's a fairly famous children's book of its period. Oh, I love this artist, Kay Nielsen. This is just like, do you describe it as Art Deco, I think? Very ornamented style Art Deco, kind of flat, highly detailed and with tons of patterns, you know? But I'm trying to remember, I think Kay Nielsen worked at Disney for a period. And I think he might have done some work on Fantasia. But magnificent artist. I have to double check. Now, I think they're from Nordic country, Kay Nielsen. I don't really want to venture a guess because they're kind of jumbled for me. I can't remember exactly which one he's from. But this is a really cool book. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, this could be a very valuable book. But no, it's more like $20. But it's a very cool book, very cool reference book, in my opinion. This one's just interesting too for me. Important Chinese snuff bottles from the J&J collection, part 3. So yeah, you know, there's multiple of these Christie's. It's a auction catalog, and you know, I'm very biased. I love these because they're such great reference material. You know, you know, on sometimes very niche like collectibles. I'm like, snuff bottles? That's a goddamn thing, huh? I mean, people collect anything, myself included. I collect all sorts of stupid shit. And then, you know, once I started seeing stuff like this, I'm like, oh yeah, I could imagine getting into that. I don't need more collecting problems, though, you know. At a certain point, it's already pathological. But collecting is fun, you know. You get to learn by acquiring, having the objects around, and even when you're selling them, you know, and you're connecting with other people usually that are interested in the material. Now, this is cool. This is a Green Day tour book, signed. Now, I will kind of double check, you know, make sure the signatures look legit. But I mean, my first impression is I think it's legit. Value, I don't know. I think it's got decent value, but I'll have to look it up a bit. It's definitely solid. Pop-up Book of Gnomes. I shouldn't have stacked things up here. That was not smart. Look at these goddamn birds. They're like, what the hell is this, dude? Gnomes are weird. They really are. I don't really understand. I don't really understand them. I think it's also like a Nordic thing, influence thing. You know, these little magical creatures. But this is a cool book. Now it's got. There's one thing that needs a little fixing from what I recall. Yeah, this on this page. I think I can fix it up. I'll see. You know, famous last words, possibly. This is a good book. Sells pretty good. Yeah, that's not good on paper here. I'm just not smart. Oh, I love this one. So I didn't know this photographer. Innerlight, Flor, who is it? Garduño. But that's just a beautiful shot right there. So yeah, I think it's a lot of, I don't know if I can even show most of these because, you know, it's going to be naked people, and I don't know if that's correct to be showing on here, but it's done in a beautifully artistic way. Yeah, that's cool. but yeah, it's nice, you know. Again, this one may be worth 20, 30 bucks, but it's a beautiful photography book. So yeah, that's all the books there. Don't know if you had any favorites. I mean, my favorite's that rollerball book. I think it's hilarious. I'm not gonna keep it, although of course I'd be tempted. You know, you gotta be careful not to keep all the everything and all the best stuff. You know, you gotta pass that on to somebody who it'll make more sense in somebody else's collection than my own. That's the way I try and think about it too. Or sometimes, you know, what I'll do is I'll keep a thing for a little bit and then I'll move it, you know, once I got a little time to just enjoy it and appreciate it. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any added comments, you know, context, corrections, any of that stuff, please feel free. And, you know, always remember, keep having fun. And until the next time, bye-bye. Forgot I had a few more here. There's Lafcadio by Shel Silverstein. Now this one's interesting because I really am having trouble finding any other editions with this cover. So I don't think this is actually a first edition, and I'll tell you why. So on the copyright page, yeah, Lafcadio, the lion who shot back. Yeah, we got to arm the lions. So if you look just at the copyright page, you know, you get the Library of Congress number and everything. So usually that'll be like pre-ISBN, you know. But the thing is, if you look on the back dust jacket here, you're gonna find ISBN. So the first edition was pre-ISBN. So that's gonna tell you this is not a first edition; it's like a reissue. But I think it's maybe a fairly rarish variant, so that's not bad. Shel Silverstein is a hell of a madman, at least when you see pictures of him. I mean, he just cracks me up. I bet he was fun to hang out with. Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace, big ass book, obviously. This is first printing, 1996 first printing. You know, I never read this. I've read only one thing by him, which was his essay on Roger Federer, which was damn good, because he was like a very, David Foster Wallace was, I think, a very good like juniors tennis player. So he was in that world, but he got kind of burnt out. This is my just vague recollection about him, about what I read about him. So you know, I wouldn't mind trying to read that. Give it a shot. This is cool. This is Glasgow Girls. And it's Women in Art and Design, 1880 and 1920. This is a period I want to keep learning more about. You know, so you got Art Nouveau, and you're going into Art Deco and a lot of cool stuff. It was a very dynamic period, I feel like, and there was so much cool design because, you know, there's even a lot of, you know, with industrialization around 1880, there was kind of, in the arts and everything, kind of a what you call a counter on it, because, you know, people were going back to like hand making and kind of home craft sort of deal, traditional, because, you know, with everything starting to be machine made, people also get tired of that. It's just like nowadays, it's the same deal, you know. With everything, when you get all this AI stuff, there's going to be people who, especially even digital natives, who go back to the physical and appreciating the physical and the handmade and stuff like that. There will always be appreciation for that, especially in industrial machine and technology-led ages, in my belief. And, you know, it's a spectrum of creation, and it's just a vehicle, you know. So it's good to have a diversity of it. People get tired of just machine-made. I mean, me too. But I appreciate certain works as well. So I just want the spectrum personally. This is Ellsworth Kelly art book. You know, nothing too crazy. He was a famous like modernist, abstract, American artist. Maybe like 30 bucks, you know, $20, $30. So nothing crazy, but a great book to just, I love carrying these kind of books because they're artists I like. It's kind of the stuff that my mom exposed me to when I was younger. Like, she was into this stuff. And she still is. It's a great aesthetic, in my opinion. Ed Ruscha, I'm always so bad with this dude's name. He was also in that same vein. He was in this period. I don't like this dude's work as much. I mean, it's just not my taste. It's not my thing. It ain't personal. It's just taste. you know. This one has a decent value, though, actually, I think. So there were 2,000 copies of this book published in 1987. You know, they could have been marketing wizards and thrown out limited edition if they wanted, you know, the bullshit marketing term, as I say. And this one, animation art. This is cool. This is a cool book. And you know who gave me this? This was given to, oh my God, the Dodgers. It's so goddamn good. God, I love these cartoons. You know, these are like some of like the touchstones for like biggest influences for me in my youth is like Looney Tunes. What I was going to say, this was given to me by my buddy Ted. He's a book reseller here in town. One of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet. He does this hustle. He's very good at it. And he very nicely kicked that to me. So, because he knows I like art and animation and all that and cartoons. So, yeah, now we're done for real. And not that I don't want to see you or anything, but I will be back soon, I promise. And I hope you enjoyed. Take care.